Today I'm going to be showing you one of the strangest train journeys I've ever made, from Gyumri in the north of Armenia all the way down to its capital, Yerevan. I'll be riding on one of their brand new Russian trains, showing you the unusual interior and some of the unexpected sights en route. Join me for a unique look at Armenia's railways.
Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I'm here in Gyumri in Armenia and I'm going to be travelling down to Yerevan, the country's capital city, aboard an Armenian Railways local train. This looks like it's going to be a good experience with Armenian Railways, so let's go.
Our journey begins outside of Gumri Station, here in Armenia's second largest city. Gyumri has a key position in the railway history of Armenia, with a line connecting Turkey and what was then the Georgian SSR opening in 1899. Outside the station you can find a children's play park and monument, alongside a small collection of historic vehicles that formerly operated in the country. Gumri Station is a beautiful building, despite what the road in front of it may lead you to believe. Being rebuilt in 1979, the design is Soviet, with inspiration coming from older Armenian tradition. Just look at this incredible piece of wall art above the main entrance. But let's head inside ahead of the train's departure. The station's interior is very well kept, especially compared to some of the other stations we'll be seeing today. The main hall is beautiful, and while small, it does what it needs to. Throughout this space, you can find many posters, with information about various infrastructure projects going on. To the side, you can find a small waiting room, consisting of little more than a few rows of seats. For some reason, the floor here was soaking wet, so be careful. With my ticket purchased, it's time to head onto the platform. Gumri Station has 3 tracks, with most, if not all, trains departing from track 1, just here. The other platforms can be accessed by the creepy underpass. But given I had to be back to Yerevan in time for dinner, I decided not to risk exploring here. My train today is the 11:55 service to Yerevan, operated by the only railway operator in Armenia. This is the Russian-owned Yuzhno Kavkazskaya Zheleznaya Doroga. This specific train is brand new, having only been delivered a few months prior to filming in late 2021. The series EP2D unit consists of just 2 carriages, and was built in Russia by Dmytrovsky Mashinostroitelny Zavod. You cannot reserve a seat on this train, so it's time to get on and find a space. Seating is in a dense 3+3 layout, possible thanks to the extreme width of these trains. I chose seat 29, a forward-facing window seat in a bay of 6. Today's route will take us from Gyumri, closely skirting the Turkish border before heading north into Armenia's capital, Yerevan. The journey is scheduled to take 3 hours and 10 minutes to cover the 155 kilometres or about 96 miles. We depart on time at 10:55, slowly accelerating on this dull winter's day. Right after leaving, you can see the line towards Arctic and Maralik. Sadly, the route is largely abandoned, seeing its last passenger train 10 years ago. Abandoned is sadly a common theme on today's journey, and there's quite a few strange sights en route coming up later on. But now, let's take a look around this train's strange interior. As I mentioned, seating is in a 3+3 configuration, the highest density you'll find anywhere in the world. The seats are in a blue and red colour scheme, with orange grab handles. This is of course a clever reference to Armenia's flag colours. As for comfort, these seats are fairly well padded, with reasonable ergonomics. The headrest is also slightly winged, for more comfort. Despite this, I did find the comfort to be a little poor, especially when doing the full 3-hour ride between cities. Above the window you can find a coat hook. One is provided for each seat. I can't imagine it would be too comfy sat by the window with 3 coats hanging in your face though. Back on the outside, things have become very cold, with snow obscuring much of the landscape. This is our first station, Bayandor. Our journey sees us stopping at 20 intermediate stations today, many of which serving as a lifeline for tiny villages next to the track. This part of our journey takes us very close to the border with Turkey, a country that historically Armenia has had a hostile relationship with. Anyway, our journey through the snowy landscape of western Armenia continues, the train rarely getting above 70 kilometers an hour. This is of course thanks to making stops at small halts, such as Isahakyan. The village has a population of just 800 residents. The environment around here was really interesting to see. It's clearly a very dry place here in summer, with the flat landscape allowing for a great view. We passed by a few more abandoned buildings before making a stop at a station so small and remote I couldn't even identify it. Eventually, the snow begins to disappear as we head further south. I've never been to Mars, but this landscape looks a lot like what I would imagine it would look like. Let's take a look around the rest of the train. Here in the vestibule, you'll find a little plastic bin, and not much else to be honest. By the doors, I expected to find a toilet, but in fact this was just a store cupboard, with a broomstick and a few wooden benches. The other carriage of the train features 2 spaces for bikes. If you're sat right next to them, you better hope the train is smooth. Next to this are some wheelchair spaces. A great feature when travelling from Gyumri to Yerevan with their high platforms, but at most places there's no way to get a wheelchair onto the train. This is also where you'll find the train's only toilet, made with accessibility in mind. It features a modern toilet. You can also find a mop bucket and a dustpan with a few towels. The soap dispenser was well stocked and the water was working fine. Though every time you ran some water, some of it would also end up in the toilet instead. However, despite this strange quirk, overall the toilet was very clean. We're fast approaching some of the strangest sights on the journey, but first, here's a little bit of scenery. This is the Silav Mastara, a river sat at the bottom of this small valley. A nearby dog starts racing with our train, and despite being very slow, we still manage to win. With the snow having completely disappeared, don't be fooled, it's still a really cold day out there. This isn't helped by the train's cooling system being on full blast. Maybe that's because it thinks the outdoor temperature is over 250 degrees. We are now on the approach to Armavir. This is the 8th largest settlement in Armenia, and by far the largest place we'll serve on the journey, excepting its 2 termini of course. Armavir was originally known as Sardarabad, and then Hoktembaryan, before receiving its current name in 1992. As the landscape flattens, it's a sign we're closing in on the Yerevan area, with one of my fellow passengers watching some British football to pass the time. Something caught my eye here, and it turned out to be a bunch of abandoned carriages in various states of severe disrepair. There were even randomly shredded parts too, just abandoned in a field in the middle of nowhere. This was such a weird sight, to just have randomly torn apart and abandoned carriages scattered by the trackside. I'd love to know the story behind this, so if you know, then please tell me in the comments. So how much did this trip through Armenia cost me? Well, even the ticket prices are quite strange. My train was scheduled to be one of the older Soviet-era elektrichka trains. These have a lower fare than the brand new trains. So when the newer train turned up instead, I was surprised that I had to pay extra. Still, my ticket cost 1,200 Armenian dram, including the extra 200 for the newer train. Overall, some fantastic value for money. We pass a few more abandoned carriages and locomotives before entering the final stretch to the capital. This section also features a glimpse of Erebuni Airport, a military base serving Yerevan. After around 3 hours, the train is pulling into Yerevan station 2 minutes early at 15:03. Overall, this was an interesting journey to make. The prices changing depending on what train shows up is very strange, as was some parts of the train's interior and even some of the views from the window. However, it's great to see investment in the railways of Armenia, which also includes some brand new sleeping carriages on the international route to Georgia. Let me know in the comments if you want to see a video on that train. As always, tell me your thoughts on Armenia's strange new local trains, and for a ride on a super luxurious train in the same region, then click up here now.